Good morning. This is Kim De Silva from Language of Relationships, and welcome to Spanglish World Networks on Zingo TV channels 250 and 251. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app from the respective app stores on iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. The app is free. Zingo TV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire and Fire TV sticks, Roku and Roku sticks, and all smart TVs 2016 powered. So, I'm going to wish you all a happy new year because this is my first show for the year, and I'm very excited to have with me today Tricia. And Tricia, I did not make a note of what title that you use, but I'm beginning to think that these titles that we use, they don't really, I guess they help people put us in a box immediately, which is all great. You can kind of like, well, I know what that person is, but still, everybody's interpretation of some of these things are so different, you know?
Yeah.
So what you do, it may not be what somebody else thinks that you do. So I'm just going to ask you to introduce yourself and tell us what you do. And then we're going to jump into today's topic, which is actually about limiting beliefs or your own beliefs and how they can dictate your relationship. And that's just, oh my gosh, we have a lot of things to talk about this morning. So Tricia, welcome once again.
Thank you so much, Kim. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to be here. And I am a success coach, a mindset mentor, client attraction mindset. I really help my clients close the gap of where they are, where they want to be within their business.
Yeah.
And we're doing it at the core level of their subconscious beliefs. We are rewriting and rewiring, and we really find a clear vision of what they want. Because so many of us are told by the gurus what things have to look like, how things have to be. And that's not always the case.
No, it's not. And one of the interesting things too is that very often we're told this is the image that we want to have. We're told that this is what success looks like. This is what we should strive for. But then how do you know you want something that you've never had? You only know you want it because you see other people have it or you hear other people want it. And but what does it look like for you? What does it mean for you? So I love that, as you said, and it's like that idea of defining what success looks like.
Yeah. And there's so much, you're so right. So many people, because we're on social media and we're seeing people's lives and they're done up in such a way that we're like, but I want that. Or I'm not doing enough or being enough because I'm not in their shoes. When the reality is, what is it you truly want? We're so stuck on the visual. When we come back to our center, we come back to us and we define what is freedom, what is success. Like these are such big words and they encompass so much. Like, I want freedom. And I said, well, I'll ask, what does freedom mean to you?
Correct.
What does a relationship mean to you? And so many people are like, but it looks this way. But how does that feel for you? Like, I was there. So I totally, been there, done that. I want to have a business where I could take my laptop and go from country to country to country.
Right.
That's really not what I want to do.
I'm like, no, you're right. I'm like, I have 3 kids, and actually, I'm very happy to have them in one space, and going to be putting on their roots and like, that's my ideal. So no, and I agree. Some things like, oh, we could just pick up and go wherever we want because we're digital nomads. And then I really thought about it. Yeah, no.
Yes,
I don't want that.
exactly. But it's programmed into our heads
Yeah.
and into everyone's head that this is what it's supposed to be.
Correct.
So when they actually stop, they're like, they're self-defeating now.
Yeah.
My life doesn't look like theirs, so something's wrong with me.
Yeah.
Or I'm doing something wrong, or my relationship is not looking like hers, and she's in the spotlight. And
Yeah.
people have to step back, and actually come to themselves to define what that really means.
Correct. So I have a question kind of coming out of this. We're at the start of the year and everyone is all about resolutions, and which is a whole other thing, and maybe we'll talk about it a little bit.
Yes.
We're talking about their words for the year or their phrase for the year. They're talking about vision boards. Actually, what do you think about vision boards and resolutions? I mean, I have mixed feelings on all of these things, but what do you think?
I have to agree with you. I have mixed feelings as well. And here is my transparency. I've done the vision boards. I've done the words of the year. I actually did a post thinking maybe it would spark something for me.
Mm-hmm.
And what I have learned about myself is when I focus on my intentionality, when I focus on my energy, and when I focus on what I am doing and my end results, all of that tends to funnel into the intentionality and the energy of it.
Right.
And vision boards, I have done them for years. And I would sit and I would look at them and I would be like, none of this is happening.
Yeah.
And this is what I have found. This is my point of view. When your subconscious is here and your conscious is here and your conscious is saying, I want to travel, I want the money, I want the clients, I want the relationships, I want all of these things. But now your subconscious is saying, well, our beliefs are here.
Right.
This is where I think that you're worthy and deserving of it. This is where I believe you're safe and comfortable, even though you're truly not comfortable.
Correct.
I have spoken to so many entrepreneurs where they're saying, I have made my goal for the month and I immediately went back down here.
Yes.
This is where you're comfortable. This is where you feel safe and worthy and deserving, even though it puts you into discontent. You're not happy with this. You know that you desire the more, but this is where you're at. Same thing with relationships. You want that amazing man or woman. You want that amazing family. Yet you keep coming back to this discontent or these arguments or whatever's going on in your life. This is showing you where you're truly at and what you're truly believing.
Right. So, and I mean, and I know this is something we chatted about a bit, last year. That sense of wanting a particular image, wanting a particular outcome, but yet really struggling at the status quo, because as you said, that's our base, that's our safety zone, that's our zone of comfort. It may not be, and the ironic thing is that our space of comfort may not necessarily be a good place.
No.
But it's therefore our subconscious recognizes it as safe. So and I sometimes wonder about this from the perspective of, so you have some people who are stuck in relationships that really are going nowhere, and it's that idea of, well, this is the best that I can do, so I'm just gonna stick this out. There are also those who are in relationships that can be better. They can make it better, they can make it stronger, but again, they feel like, can I really make a difference here? This is how it's been for, in some cases, almost forever. All right. So again, stuck at that level. And I suppose and it varies from person to person, situation to situation. Like, how do you tell the difference between, how can I make this better versus, oh crap, maybe I need to get out of this. And I don't know how our limiting beliefs play into that, or how our beliefs play into that, because it is very important too. And I think this kind of leads into our other discussion topic, right? That sense of like, when we're on that personal growth journey, and then we look at our partners and they're like, well, you aren't there yet. maybe you never will get there.
Mhm, mhm.
And it's being able to discern, am I willing to do the work to make this better
Yes.
or not?
Mhm.
But here's the thing, right? If we're not willing to do the work to make this better, that doesn't mean tomorrow you're going to find somebody else
Mm.
to suddenly have all the things you don't have right now because you are still operating at a particular level.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So people are so quick to say divorce is the answer.
Right.
And yet they find themselves in the same situation over and over and over again, where there's been people who have said, I'm at the same situation again. This is my third relationship. I'm getting divorced again. And at that point, hopefully, two relationships earlier, it is stopping and taking an internal look. But we're so taught about immediate gratification.
Mhm.
We're so taught, like, do it or I'm done.
Yeah.
Everything is simple, but it can be challenging.
Yeah.
And that's where it comes into, do you want to give it a shot? Or are you ready to just go? I remember years ago, I was at a job and one of the managers were getting married, and his response to me was, I'm like, oh, congratulations. I'm wishing you the best of luck. He's like, oh, it doesn't work. We'll just get divorced. I was like, well, okay. That was his answer. And I thought,
Wow. Oh,
yeah,
wow. Wow.
yes.
I mean, so you're not even going in with like, I am totally success oriented. This is more like,
Mhm.
well, we'll give it a try.
Yeah, that's just it. So when you're going into your relationships, what expectations are you going in? What ideals are you going in? What is your belief system?
Mm-hmm.
And that also has us turning around and looking about the relationships that were mirrored to us.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
it also becomes, do we want the same outcomes? See, there was things done in my own family that I was like, I don't, I'm not really fond of this. So I want something different. It is being able to be self aware and reflective to
Mm-hmm.
say, I want something different.
Mm-hmm.
And absolutely, our beliefs. I remember many years ago, I had gotten into an argument with my husband. Don't ask me what it was about now,
No, that,
but
right.
but I remember like going on a cleaning spree. I was so aggravated.
Yeah.
And while I was cleaning, I went, this is your parents. And I went, oh,
Mm,
okay. Thank you for sharing. Now it's up to me to make things different.
yeah.
It doesn't mean it was good, bad, or indifferent. It
Mm-hmm.
just means this is a belief. This is how our brain sees it. Our brain has created pathways to say that when this happens, this is the reaction we're going to have.
Yeah.
So instead of doing that automatic reaction, it now allows us and enables us to create the response.
Right.
Is this the response we want? Is
Correct.
this how we want things to be? Can I make this different? What can I do to change, tweak, make it better, or have these uncomfortable conversations, which in essence pulls us out of our comfort zone, to look at what can we do? And this is a two-way street. This is you changing and your significant other or your friendship or someone in your family.
Yeah.
Will they also want to make this change?
Correct. Correct. And I mean, one of the things that we talk about a lot is that, we can't dictate what somebody else is willing to do or how they should act. So, yes, the first step is you. The first step is you making those changes. The first step is you taking that responsibility for your own reactions, your own feelings, your own thoughts and words. Fine. So then let's like talk about our partners for just a moment, right? I mean, Trisha, I cannot tell you how many times I've gotten onto, sessions. And one of the things that, a lady will tell me is that she's on this journey of personal growth. She's looking at her money mindset. She's looking at how she wants to change her limiting beliefs. And she feels like she's really on a path here. She's putting all the effort in. And then she looks at her partner and she's like, but they're not doing anything. They're not growing. I'm going to outgrow them because I'm on this path of enlightenment, and they're not hopping on board. And
Yeah.
I think that really struck me in the beginning, because I that was not what I did not expect that to be such a common theme. I was looking for the repeated arguments, the fights over money, the lack of gratitude, the lack of respect, the disconnection. That's all there, yes. But then this thing kept coming back up over and over again. Maybe it's because of the circles that I was, operating in. It's like, wow. There was this absolute condescension towards significant others because they're not on that path of enlightenment. I know we chatted about this before, but have you seen this as well?
Listen, it replayed in my own life.
Well,
I remember being like, wow, I'm doing all this work and he doesn't want to hear it. And, look at me.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely, I believe we called it the path to enlightenment snob.
Yep. Path to enlightenment or personal growth snob.
Personal growth. And I love personal growth and I am an advocate for it. And it is something I practice daily. Yet we cannot force anybody else into their path before they're ready for it.
Because nobody forced us, right? When we started, exactly. We chose to start that.
Yes, absolutely. And I do remember being like, where do I go from here?
Mm-hmm.
What do I do? And it does, you do question, is this the person for me?
Yeah.
They're not doing it. But I question you to come back to, again, center and say, do you love your husband or your wife or whomever? There are definitely situations where, yes, it is time to have that split, whether it is a relationship with your significant other, a friendship, a business partner. There are things where, are your values the same? Are your core beliefs the same? Even though you may be on this personal growth.
Yeah.
Do you come back to that? Are they the same? And I remember at that point being like, this man loves me to the moon and back, and I love him to the moon and back. Mm-hmm. My work within myself started to reflect into that relationship.
Yeah.
And I caught myself. So when you catch yourself, questioning, is this the relationship for me? No matter where I was in my growth, are they always supporting you? Because no matter how crazy my husband thought I was, he was like, right there, do it, honey. I'm right behind you. I may not understand it. And yes, don't ask me, you are crazy. But I'm here for you. I'm behind you. He's always been that pillar.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and that, you talked about the core values and the core beliefs. And this is something that I think is very overlooked in today's world. As you say, today's world, we're all about, you talked about your your colleague who was like, yeah, if it doesn't work out, we can just get divorced. But one of the very foundational parts of a relationship, before you even begin this long-term relationship, this committed relationship, is, do your core beliefs and values align? And I'm not saying that you have to have the identical core values and beliefs, but there must be something bigger and deeper than the two of you that you can come back to.
Mhm.
And, I remember as well when I first started, my husband was like, what are you on about now? You know? I always talk about how, I'm not just introverted. I was also extremely shy. So when I was talking about, doing this type of work, she's like, you don't even like talking to more than two people. He's like, I don't even know how you teach. So,
Oh boy.
now you want to go on social media and say controversial things. You don't like when anybody says a harsh word to you. And I mean, these were all true. These are really, really true things. And it stung because I was like, I really want to, try this. And I started doing all of the work to get to that space. And I think that is what made a difference to him. It was like kind of like not taking it seriously, but then this is it, right? How serious are you? Are you committed? Because when you are committed to your personal growth journey and you are doing the things and you are making the effort and you are beginning to reap the rewards of that, your partner is going to notice.
Yeah.
And it's going to be for the better.
Yeah.
Right? And then they can, as your husband's like, yeah, I still don't understand what you're doing, Tricia, but I see you. I see how committed you are to this. So great. And I mean, we've come a long way as well. And, there are many things as well that he's like, I don't understand, but it's all right.
Yeah.
If this is what you're doing, this is what you're doing. And it makes a difference. But we cannot enter into that trap of judging our partners and looking down on them because they're not on the same journey.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just a window into utter disrespect for our partners. And the same way we want them to value what we're doing, we cannot disrespect the path that they are on. Their path is different.
Mm-hmm. And I want to pinpoint I want to add on to what you just said is as we change and they see change, they start to get on that path. They start to delve in deeper. My husband and I can have amazing conversations now.
Mhm.
Our relationship has grown in leaps and bounds, and it's so amazing to sit down and have conversations about our subconscious, have conversations about the universe and deeper level, intimate conversation.
Yes. Correct. So, I mean, and as you point out that aspect of your work, what I guess I want to ask, like, what drew you to that? Because for most people, it's like, what do you mean my subconscious? What do you mean about what is this woo business about? So explain, yeah, how do you get started? Because we, again, another thing that we totally underestimate, the power of our subconscious.
Yes. And before we hit that, I want to go back to the disrespecting our husbands because here's the thing. When we get so caught up in this,
Mm-hmm.
the stories we create
Mm-hmm.
from that anger or that frustration
Yeah.
or that discontent, instead of allowing it to kind of be there and go,
Yeah.
now we have an emotion. We want to create a story because we have to figure out what that story means. So
Yeah.
usually, I'm going to say 70% of the time, instead of just allowing that discontent or that frustration to just be there, be aware of it, allow it to flow through. Now we're creating stories.
Yeah.
And it begs the question, is it really that emotion attached to that story, or is that a story we just created?
Yeah.
So we're frustrated with our husbands for whatever reason.
Right.
It could be that you put the dishes the wrong place, or it could be something very silly.
Yeah.
And now our brain goes, well, look at him. He's not doing A, B, C, D. And look at me. I'm doing all these things.
Yeah. Correct.
And I'm going to share a tool, which is called pattern interruption.
Yes.
So when we get on these stories, create a funny word, whatever that is for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we get into that story, and now our body is increasing that emotion, when we catch ourselves in that story, use that word, because that word will make us laugh.
Yeah.
It'll break up the story. It'll break up that energy. It'll allow us to take a couple of steps back and now look at the whole picture and say, A, is that really true? B, is that a story I want to continue on?
Mm-hmm.
C, how is this helping me? In what way is this helping me to grow or expand?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And 99% of it is no, 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 no.
Correct.
It's just a reaction
Exactly.
to that emotion, instead of just saying, I feel this, okay, now let me do something, whether it's exercise, going outside, and just allowing that to settle, be, and move through us. We're creating that story. And in essence, we are now tallying up the things that we have against our significant other. Well, yeah.
Correct. Oh my gosh. I mean, so much relevance in what you are saying. And for those of you who are listening, I hope this is striking a chord. And what Tricia is saying, it's not necessarily easy. I mean, I have had clients where we have worked through this process, this pattern interrupt of, okay, learning to recognize when the repeating pattern is happening, the repeating thought process is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Learning not just to recognize it now, but to start the interruption. Learning then again. I started the interruption, but I still fell back into it. So what can I do the next? This, as you know, and this is something you said very early on in our conversation today. These are simple things to do, but not that they're not challenging.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's black and white stuff. It's like the tools. It's like a screwdriver. It's pretty basic, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. You put it in here and you turn it. But if you don't have the strength to turn it, if you can't see very well and you can't get the tool into the little crack, it's not it's going to be a major challenge. So
Yes.
we're giving you the tools, and then maybe some guidance, maybe some help, maybe some patience with yourself to learn how to use them. Um, and it can give you a very specific example. A couple years ago, my husband and I it was one afternoon, we were in the kitchen, and it was at the end of the day, and I think we were both a bit cranky, and he was just like, every little thing was just like making him snap. Even the kids were kind of like giving him some side eye and giving him a wide berth, and I was just getting more and more and more and more and more irritated. And then I was also thinking to myself, it's always fine for him to behave like that. But if I was in this mood and I was snapping at everything, oh, I'll just be the worst person. And I'm always nagging, and I'm always, and I saw myself going into this pattern. And then he said something else again. And I was about to whip around and tell him, all of the things that I'd just been thinking. And I caught it just at that moment. And I'm like, no, you've just done the whole thing that you do over and over again, where you just collect all of the negative thoughts and then you just spew them back out. And my pattern interrupt at that point, I turned myself around in a circle. like in the because I had spun around to talk to him, I just turned myself back around. And it was just this literal moment of just able to kind of clear some of that negativity, some of that. I mean, I don't talk energy very much, but I mean, it literally felt like that. It was just like kind of like shifting this energy away. And, when I kind of settled back down, it occurred to me, I'm like, did you even take your blood pressure tablets this morning? And, and he himself stopped. He's like, oh, no.
Oh,
Maybe you should.
yes. It's perfect. That's a perfect example.
Oh my gosh. But again, these are Trisha, these are simple things that we just do on a daily basis. It's part of our lives, and that's what hopefully these conversations can help people pick out the tools that they need, and
Yeah.
use it.
And it's a practice. It's not a perfect.
No.
It's a practice. So if you do it 10 times, great, awesome. If one time you just everything explodes, okay. Reset, do over. It's not the end of the world. Don't make it bigger than it needs to be. And one of another great tool, which is a practice, is I love you, but we need to have this conversation at another time because, yes. And again, it's a pattern interruption. It is stopping yourself going down that reactive path within your brain and creating a new neural pathway so that the next time this happens, your brain is going to go to that new pathway, that new creation that you've just made, that new habit. And that habit does not necessarily take 21 days. A little bit longer. There's an interesting thing out in the personal growth that everything should take 21 days.
Right.
I beg to differ. So if it takes a little bit longer for 21 days, do not beat yourself up. Give yourself grace, because that is something that has been so programmed into you that it may take 6 months.
Correct.
It may take 3 months. It may take a day. So depending on you, give yourself grace and allow yourself to be the person who has the emotions instead of the person who's on this, well, I'm in personal growth and this is what it says I'm supposed to be right now. And this is where it's...
Yeah. No. And it's okay. It's okay. It's absolutely okay. And I can tell you just yesterday I was in a session with my own coach. I know certain things have been happening around me recently, and I was beginning to feel like this increase in anxiety and worry. And in our session yesterday, I was saying, but I've done so much work around these things. Like, I should not be feeling this anxiety. I should just be able to drop it and move on. And one of the things he said to me, he's like, first of all I'm hearing there is a lot of blame. Like you're blaming yourself and feeling guilty and ashamed that you're feeling anxious. And I was like, oh, well, yes, but and it was that permission to listen. You've done work, but this is still a valid emotion. He said the difference now is that you recognize it. And you can recognize that you don't want to live in this space. You can you have the tools to work your way out of it. But it's okay. Give yourself that grace. Just give yourself that grace.
And I'm glad that you brought that up, because that is, for me, in my opinion, is that personal growth. It's like, oh, well, I already did this. I don't have to do it again.
Right? Yes.
And please, I do it too. I'm like, I've been through, what is going on here? I did this already. I did the work for it. Listen. It's a level. You're upgrading. You're up leveling yourself. And with that up level comes those emotions again
Yeah.
because I'm going to go back to our brains are trying to keep us comfortable. They're trying to keep us in that new normal, that new. So when we start to increase and go past it, it's like, ooh. So it wants to keep us where we're at.
Mhm.
And can you absolutely break through it? Yes.
Yeah.
But it's like your coach said, stop with the shame, stop with the beating yourself up
Yeah.
for being back in that same spot. But the
Yeah.
reality is you're not in that same spot. You're in a spot here, but it's like you're starting to feel that discomfort again because as you grow and expand,
Mhm.
this happens. Our brains sometimes and our bodies, because now it's like, oh, we're doing that expansion and that growth.
Yeah.
So it's like we're a little bit uncomfortable and we're feeling that anxiousness or we're feeling that tiredness or we're feeling some other emotion for it. When we catch the story of it, that is when you recognize, because resistance can,
Mhm.
when we have resistance with the thoughts, that is resistance trying to keep us safe and in our comfort zone.
Mhm.
So pay attention. Again, it's very self-aware, very self-reflective of what's going on. It is sitting back and saying, all right, I'm feeling this and I'm feeling that. What's the situation here? What is going on?
Correct.
Okay, so I'm feeling a little anxious. I'm feeling a little discontent. I'm feeling something. And sometimes it's when we try to put the label on it
Uh-huh.
that creates it even more. So it's so interesting to watch it play out. So
Mhm.
yes. Mm-hmm.
And I guess with the label, it's like, and then you just start to think of all the things you've seen or read about it, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So going back to, I'm glad we came here, but going back to our subconscious, back at the end of 2023, I was an empath coach. I worked with people who were super sensitive. And because I'm very much into personal growth,
Mm-hmm.
there were some disconnects that were going on within my life. There were disconnects with, I wanted to see things globally. I wanted to be able to do more. And I was having that disconnect here.
Yeah.
So I remember, because I love subliminals, I love hypno, I love these things. And then I remember going about my day asking what empowered questions. What am I doing that I can do differently? What path am I on that is not quite aligning with my desired end results?
Right.
When we stop doing what we're doing normally, because every day when we continuously do the same things, Einstein said it's insanity.
Right. Yeah.
So when we continuously doing things and we're not seeing the results that we desire in any area of our life, it is stopping and saying, what is going on here? What am I missing? What has to be tweaked? What has to be changed? What boundaries do I need to create? What empowered questions? And then when we lay them out and we just go about our day, it's allowing for answers to be received. And those answers can come in a myriad of ways, through a social media post, through a friend calling us, through a conversation with our coach, through just having our day and being like, oh, I never thought of that possibility.
Mhm.
I never had that perspective. And one of the things for me was closing that business, totally trusting myself.
Right.
Yeah. And delving deeply into what our brains are really capable of. We are way more capable of things than we give ourselves credit for. We are way more capable of seeing things in a new perspective if we just get out of that environment and change it. And I mean, we could get out of our environment by a new way to travel.
Right.
Instead of going to the supermarket the same old way, let's try a different way. Let's read a new book. Let's watch a new show. These are like and again, simple, but when we're so programmed to do things over and over and over,
Yeah.
it's like, well, let's do this again. Well, this is not working for us. So I ended up doing and getting my neuroscience certification. I ended up like, I totally geeked out. I geeked out. I was like, ooh, research, let's really think. And from there, I was able to change the gap for my clients in a quicker way because we're using our brains. We're creating new neural pathways. We're creating those new paths to what we desire.
Correct. Correct.
And in doing that, we're changing every aspect of our lives. We're changing those relationships. You know, it's I had a relationship, a friendship for over 20 years. And this is, I was doing the things. And I'm like, let's go out. Well, let's go to the bar and drink. I don't really want to go to the bar and drink. Let's do something else. No, let's meet at the bar and drink. There comes a point in time where the universe just does this, and you can see what happens down the road. You can come back here.
Mm-hmm.
You're leaving it open to allowing that person, their journey, their growth, their path.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what you want to do. I love you, but I want to go here. And that's okay. And there will be a little bit of a grieving process because you're no longer hanging out like you used to. You're no longer having that person in your immediate circle.
Yeah.
But when you create that vacuum, the universe delivers new friendships, new business partners, new ways of being that opens up a plethora of new opportunities in your life.
Mm-hmm. And it's okay. But, as you said, it all starts with you identifying what these things are, what your ultimate goals are, what it looks like for you, what do you want it to be. And then you can see and decide, well, this is not a relationship that is taking me towards that. I've done what I can in this regard.
Mm-hmm.
But.
And it's leaving the door open. It's not saying, I will never speak to you again because you're not on my path.
No.
I love you. I wish you well.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you want to do, whatever little, and just go on your path. I think so many people are stuck in ways they think things should be instead of taking the self-reflective and spending some time to actually see how that looks.
Yeah.
Seeing how that looks for you, seeing how that looks for having that significant partner. We talk about all these new goals 2025. Instead of doing that, how can you increase intimacy in the relationships you have? How can you increase communications with the relationships you have? How can you increase being your authentic self and showing up in these relationships?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I mean, I know, Tricia, we keep kind of vacillating between talking about relationships in general, you have your friends and your family and our intimate relationship, our our committed relationship with our significant others. And I would say there is a little bit of give and take with especially with our significant others. Obviously, we have there. It's a our paths we can't just diverge our paths just like that. And many times we don't want to. We want to find a way for us both to work together, and that's where it comes down to, like understanding. I love you. I may not understand you. I know you love me. You may not understand me right now, but coming back again to our core values, our core beliefs.
Mhm.
And as you said, for you, it was like that reminder that we love each other. We
Mhm.
really do love each other. We want a life together.
Mhm. And we can make this work. It will take some time and energy, but we can make this work. It comes down to, again, do you want to make this work? Because if you don't love yourself, if you have some issues within you, and again, that's from society, how we grew up, how we're mirroring people,
Mm-hmm.
you this will replay. So
Correct.
it's about stopping and saying, what can I do differently? Or how can I show up differently
Mm-hmm.
in this relationship?
Exactly. Ooh. And when we show up differently, we trigger a whole new type of relationship because
Yes.
they're not the same person.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. As we head into our last few minutes, I have, well, a couple more questions for you. So, more or less around, you know, is there anything you want to share with our audience? Is there anything that, how can they find you? How can they, what does working with you look like? Anything like that?
So they can find me on social media. It's Tricia Dycka, and my last name is Dycka. So I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, yep, I'm around. You can definitely message message me, and I want you to know, and this is my personal story, is when people told me, look at your subconscious, and I would be like, you
Yeah.
absolutely have the tools within you to change. You absolutely can change. You can rewire those beliefs to what you desire in every area of your life.
Mm-hmm.
You can have the life that you want. I think it's up to us to sit down and pay attention to the things we want, the things we desire. And if we can think about it and we can dream about it, it's absolutely available to us. It's just a matter of putting in the inspired work instead of work to just work, because busyness does not get you your desired end results. It is coming from within you. This is what I love to do. This is the relationship I desire. I always want to be with this person, so we will figure out a way. We will make it grow and expand.
Correct. Correct. So sometimes you need a little help in identifying these visions for yourself, these dreams for yourself. You need someone to hold your hand and support you through drawing it out. Okay. And that's where people like Trisha come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, to help you just identify it and then figure out, believe that you can achieve it, that you do deserve to achieve it.
Yeah. And I have a 3-month one-to-one package. And one of the things that we really work on is figuring out where you're stuck, where you're limiting yourself, and rewiring those beliefs at a lasting level, at your subconscious level, where you can create that lasting change. We will work and figure those out. And we do it from what you desire. And then we work backwards to figure out what those beliefs are and what's holding you in the way.
Beautiful. Well, thank you very much, Trisha. And again, Trisha Dyka,
C K
Dycka. Look for her on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And I think I saw you on LinkedIn.
A. Yes.
Right?
Yes, yes.
Awesome. Thanks again, Trisha. It was lovely to have you today.
Thank you so much.
So, this show can also be heard on Spanglish Radio Network. Please check spanglishworld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, live it. Bye for now.